Welcome back to this lecture. So in this lecture, we are going to build the to-do list application from scratch inside this lecture. So let me first show you the application that we are going to build in this particular lecture. So you can see this is the final project that we are going to build. So you can see this is having a nice little card. We have the heading which is to-do list. Then we have this input type which is add new to-do, the placeholder text, and then we have this nice hover effect on the button. So if I click on add, then you can see nothing is happening. So once I enter the text inside this first to do, this is first to do task, and if I click on add, then you can see the task is actually added to this particular list. And if I add here a second to do, and if I enter add, then you can see the second to do is add after the first to do. So it's actually creating the list. So the first part is we need to start with the HTML part of this to-do list application. So here you can see inside the Visual Studio Code, I have created three files. The first is index.html, the second is script.js, and the third is style.css file. So I have created all of these three files to save some time. Okay, so I'm going to just increase the size of this Visual Studio Code, and then I'm going to resize the browser window, so that you can see the output once I type the code. Okay, so just make it a little bit more bigger, and I'm going to remove this one. And the next thing is here I will be using the h1, so it's going to be like to do list. Okay, so if I save it, and then if I just run this project by using the Go Live Server extension, then you can see to do list. Alright, so this will be the heading for the project. Now we need to wrap this h1 element inside the div tag, which will act as a container for the project. So for that we need to here use the container. So I am using the Emmet shortcut. So here I will be writing the container and pressing the tab key. Inside of this container, I will be pasting the code of the h1 element. If I save it, then you can see nothing is changed because there is only a single element. Now we need to actually specify the rest of the elements. So the another element is actually the input type, which is type is going to be text, so that we can enter the text into the input of the element. And then we need to specify the ID. So the ID is going to be like new to do item. Okay, so it's going to be, or I can say the new to do input to make it more meaningful. Then I need the placeholder text. So enter your to do. Okay, so this will be the placeholder text for the input type. And after that, we need a button. So here we need to add the button. Then the ID of this button. So it's like add to do btn, which is a add to the button. Then I'm going to specify the here add as a text to the button, which will be displayed. So if I control save it, then you can see these two elements is now appearing at the screen. The next element is we need is to actually creating the list. For that we need to use the UL element. So this is going to have an ID of to do list. This will we are going to update with the JavaScript. So there is no text inside of this, and we don't need to specify any list item. We are going to do that with the use of JavaScript. So I'm going to style these three elements in the CSS part of this to-do list application.